Now, Ukraine claims that more than 3,500 Russian soldiers and their families have used a surrender hotline since it was set up in September. The I Want to Live scheme's being used by Kyiv to try to undermine Russian morale after it mobilised hundreds of thousands of men to fight. Prisoners of war have been used by both sides to negotiate exchanges throughout the invasion. The BBC hasn't been able to verify how many Russian soldiers have surrendered because Moscow hasn't released the figures. But let's talk to James Waterhouse, who's in Dnipro. And James, you've had a glimpse of a part of this war we don't usually see.
No, that's exactly right. And President Zelensky, in his words in his overnight address, has said Ukraine is hanging on for now, notably in the east, along the front line there, where mobilised Russian soldiers with little to no training have found themselves on the front line and found themselves being sent in through Russian advances as they try to continue to take Ukrainian territory. It is -1 today. Conditions are continuing to deteriorate for soldiers on both sides, and the information war, as ever, has been a huge weapon for both Ukraine and Russia. This surrender helpline was set up in September to try and undermine Russian morale, and we have been given some of the recordings.
A Ukrainian message for Russian soldiers. What are you fighting for? Asks this propaganda video. At one point, it offers cash for giving up weapons or machinery. Before two numbers appear, Ukraine's surrender hotline. From frontline to phone line, this secretive operation takes place in Kyiv. One call operator, who we've kept anonymous, says she gets up to 100 inquiries a day.
There are different calls. They tend to happen more in the evening or nighttime.
It's because, she says, it's the only time they're alone. We've been given some recordings and used actors to voice them.
Hello, this is the Center for Surrender into Captivity.
Hello. I was given this number and was told that this is how you can voluntarily surrender. I'm in Kherson region.
First, can you please go on Telegram, find the I Want to Live chatbot and complete the questionnaire?
I can't. They took our phones. I just don't understand exactly what to do when Ukrainians come. Do I drop to my knees or what?
When you're on the front line, call us right away.
I'm not alone here. There's a group of people. They say here in Russia they will put us to jail for 10 years.
Often it's part desperate, part frustrated or lost, because they don't fully understand how the hotline works and whether it's not just a setup.
Once they're located, more instructions are given. We're not told what they are.
We haven't been mobilized yet, but we are already here. I will purposefully speak in a convoluted way. When do I call?
For more information and to save time, go to our Telegram channel called I Want to Live.
So it's not fake?
It's the only channel where all official information is posted about procedures and how things happen. You don't have to leave your phone number because it identifies you. And we really recommend you having an old phone handset on you.
Okay, I'll take a closer look. Thank you. Goodbye.
This is a big part of the information war. Both sides need prisoners of war to free their own and quieten critics. For outnumbered Ukraine, it's hoped this helpline will weaken their bigger opponent.
Early on in this invasion, when Russia launched its full-scale attack, Ukraine lost a lot of men, notably in the defense of cities like Mariupol in the southeast. Then in September, there was a change in the tide where we saw numerous counter-offensives by Kyiv, notably in the east and south with the recent falling of Kherson. Prisoner of war exchanges are an important mechanism for both sides, and with winter's arrival, fighting is going to require discipline and training on both sides. And what Ukraine is trying to do is expose the lack of discipline amongst Russian mobilised soldiers in order to continue its momentum, or try to, because Kyiv knows military successes will enable it to repel pressure for it to arrive at the negotiating table to end this war in another way. It wants to achieve victory in its own right, but that is a long way off.
James, thank you very much. James Waterhouse there in Dnipro. Absolutely fascinating report. Thank you, James. Hearing those voices of young Russian men who do not want to be there, calling that helpline.